Fine. You go on begging. Like this thing gives a damn what we want!
Lightning!
Okay, let me get one thing out of the way right at the beginning. I played the Xbox 360 version of Final Fantasy XIII. Thus, this review deals exclusively with that version. I cannot speak to the quality of the PlayStation 3 version. Alright then, on with it. Final Fantasy series is a strange entity in that it never carries any story or character continuity from entry to entry, yet Square Enix's reputation for big budgets maintains a rabid fan base of day one buyers. Even if that's not you, then you still might like this one. Square has constructed a beautiful and enjoyable world that may find appeal beyond the die-hard fans. Square loves to show off their full-motion cutscenes in all their trailers, and rightly so. Strung together, these form what is essentially a breathtakingly vibrant animated movie. Unfortunately, their love of massive showcases and over-the-top action scenes has seriously crippled the game's story. You follow a colorful cast pulled, for varying reasons, into the conflict between the game's diametric worlds, Cocoon and Pulse, and the creatures called Fal'Cie that govern them. Early on, your party from Cocoon becomes l'Cie, servants of the Pulse Fal'Cie tasked with a nebulous focus. If they complete the focus, they become crystallized. If they don't, they become monsters. Because of this, the l'Cie are outcasts from their homeworld. The character's contemplation on what their focus could be takes up much of the story arc, along with a lot of jabbering about fate and choice.
The same as ours. Our focus has got to be the same. We were chosen to be guardians, to defeat Ragnarok. It makes sense. What the hell it does?
At its best, the story is confusing, and at its worst, it's embarrassing to watch.
Yes.
She said yes!
The party wanders ever forward without a clue as to what they're doing. You fight some bosses, and then you win. There were actually a few moments when I would stare open-mouthed at what the characters were doing, thinking, why is this happening? The attempts to make up for this uninspired tale is the character interaction. While the writing occasionally suffers from awkward translation, a generally good group of voice actors make for a truly interesting group of young rebels. There are some truly heart-rending character moments, and I look back at those as some of the best parts of the game. So are visuals enough to make up for a messy narrative? Almost. The environments you will traverse in the course of the adventure are very diverse, yet united in their detailed beauty. Light reflects off snow to wondrous effect. The vistas are sprawling, and character models are highly detailed to near realism. Even the menus look great, with slick video clips and ripple effects, and the lip syncing matches the American voices. Battles can get extremely frantic with no slowdown. Unfortunately, the in-game parts sport some slightly lower resolution, and those showpiece CG cutscenes suffer from some yucky compression. There's no denying the amount of painstaking detail, but even on 3 discs, Final Fantasy XIII just doesn't fit. What ultimately makes me like this game is the awesome new battle system. Each of your party members specializes in various combinations of several jobs. You can combine these jobs into groups called paradigms, which you can switch at any time on the battlefield at no cost. I don't want to spend too much time getting into the complexities of the system. Needless to say, the possibilities are endless, and you can easily tweak your party to include your favorite characters with your favorite abilities, and then use them to pull off your own complex strategies. It helps that there's no penalty for dying. The game drops you right before the battle you lost to, with a chance to rethink your paradigms. It's immensely satisfying to come back from a humiliating loss and destroy a boss you thought to be impossible. Unfortunately, it seems that Square underestimated the abilities of players, doling out little pieces of the game's systems over the entire 50-hour runtime. Yes, you are unable to fully upgrade your characters until you have beaten the final boss. Most of the higher level bosses require this final tier of the Crystarium before you can even think about taking them on. This is too bad because once you can fight them, these are the most fun parts of the game, requiring you to switch paradigms every 5 seconds to counter the enemy's every move. It's a good thing these fights take up most of your playtime, but between these encounters you'll be running, mostly in a straight line. During the first half of the game, there's barely a semblance of exploration. This is not so much a complaint as a warning. This aspect of the design works well within the context of the game, especially considering the immense freedom allowed in the game's back end. Final Fantasy XIII is a good game, not a great one. If your expectations have been running high for the past 4 years, don't expect to be swept off your feet. The Ponderous pacing could be too much for most to take, but if you are patient, you will be rewarded in the long run. Story gets a 7. It's grandiose and it's melodramatic, but there's not much substance to it. What is there gets bogged down in its own ruminations. I give design a 5, as the pacing is where many players will balk. There's just no excuse for waiting until the end of the game to finish leveling up your characters. Gameplay aims high with a 9. It's fun and challenging and is easily the reason for picking up this game. Presentation levels out at an 8.5. Everything looks great under the surface, sporting that Final Fantasy shine, but its appearance is marred by the ugly compression. Replay value pulls in an 8, since the best part of the game happens after the game is over. The adventure is a long enough one without any second game incentives, and completionists will easily pour in 100 hours to get everything. Finally, Final Fantasy XIII scores a 7.5, an interesting next step for Square Enix, though not necessarily the right one.